it will really relate to people in real life as well. Like people have challenges with parenting, bringing kids up can be just mental in itself. Work challenges, financial challenges, and what happens? We get stressed, we get anxious, things happen. What do you do? Because you put so much time into this. You have a psychologist on your team. You have different people helping you to become optimal. But golf is a game of setbacks. What do you do mentally dealing with bad holes, bad shots, missed cuts with those challenges? How do you deal with that? What's the process?
Yeah, I've thought about this, and in the past, I haven't, I haven't dealt with this correctly. But I think I'm dealing with it a lot better now that I'm a little bit more mature. But the one thing that I do, if I have a bad round, bad hole, it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
That sort of thing will happen.
Like life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But the one thing that I do is I try and think back to a moment 2 or 3 years ago where the exact same thing happened. And you think back to that moment now and you say to yourself, right, was that really as, because in the moment when something bad does happen, you think it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
On the golf course, you think it's the absolute end of the world. You think, it can't get any better from here. Like, what am I doing? You just feel terrible about yourself. But, if you take a moment and think about an experience that happened 2 or 3 years ago, a very, very similar experience, you're just like, right now, that really doesn't matter. And it's not as big as I thought it was back then. And it doesn't have as much, it didn't have any impact at all on how I played the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
It's just a setback. That's going to happen to every single athlete that ever exists. Everyone has setbacks. So thinking in that sort of way back to a period of time in which it's happened before, and knowing that it had no implications on what is, what I've become is a nice kind of frame of mind to have when something bad does happen.
Yeah, it makes me think of that concept of cosmic irrelevance. Like if something really bad happens, and from an evolutionary perspective, our brains make this this is really, really important right now, just in case we need to survive whatever happened. So our ego gets caught up in that. But if you think of like cosmic irrelevance, like how important is this? Will this be next week? How important was a similar event that happened last year, as you said? How important is this in the grand scheme of my family, society, the world? We're floating on this big ball in the universe. How important is this little? And it's not belittling what's happening with you, but it sort of brings it, right? It's not that big a deal in the grand scheme of things.
No.
It gives you that lens that's a little bit different.
Absolutely. And at the I think it's gratitude, right?
Yeah.
It's gratitude. It's knowing, that missing a putt or hitting a shot out of bounds or missing a cut in a golf tournament doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. You're going to have bad days. You're going to, do this, that, and the other. But kind of brings it back to trusting your work ethic and trusting your routines. And if you truly do that, like I know that I'm like no one in golf history has not missed a cut, right?
Yeah.
I know I'm going to have a bad week again, right? That's just a fact.
Yeah.
Because it's going to happen to everyone. Not that I wish it on myself, but knowing that it's going to happen kind of frees you up to control what you can control, because I can't control that I'm going to have a bad week. That's just going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's kind of controlling the controllables in your brain and really just enjoying the process and the experience of, working hard and doing what you're doing. Like, I love what I do. And as part of that, I know that there's going to be bad times and there's certainly going to be good times.
Yeah. It's interesting you use the word gratitude. I find it quite interesting. And for me, I might have a different perspective. Where does the gratitude piece come into that for you when we're talking about?
Yeah, just being thankful. For me, it's just being thankful for where I am in life. What I've achieved, the people that I have around me. I think that's the biggest thing. Who you surround yourself with. Surrounded by a lot of really, really good people. And, I'm extremely grateful for that. And I think that's gratitude for me, is that being surrounded by amazing people.
Yeah, I think so, Max, and I hope I would imagine it comes through on the podcast as well. When I met you, like within split second, you're instantly likable. There's something about that, and Mick has said that before as well. And I think people want to help and lift other people. I think in Ireland, you say don't get notions. Sometimes there's a bit of a language around that. But in general, people want to help other people as well. And if I have that likability factor as well, you'll have people cheering in your corner and people wishing you well and wanting you to do well,
Yeah, well, I think if you're a good person and you mean well, good things have to happen to you.
Yeah.
It's just that's
Law of
just
attraction.
law of attraction.
Back to that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's the secret that not a lot of people understand, I don't think.
Yeah.
And it's still, you know, but I do think that's a big thing. If you're a good person, you mean well, good things have to happen to you. And the opposite is true too.